You spent $300 on a trainer, maybe more, and your dog still pulls on the leash, still barks at everything, still jumps on every single person who walks through the door. And the trainer told you, just keep practicing, and handed you a treat pouch. Here's what nobody in that industry wants you to know. Most dog behavior problems aren't training problems. They're information problems. And the information that actually fixes things, trainers charge extra for that. Or they just don't mention it. I've been obsessed with this stuff for years. Talked to owners, read the research, watched what actually works in real homes with real dogs. And what I found out is that there are 5 things sitting right beneath the surface of every training session that nobody's putting in their intro package. Stick around for number 1, because it completely changes how you see your dog. And once you hear it, you can't unhear it. You've probably heard, use positive reinforcement. Cool, but nobody tells you how precise the window actually is. You have roughly 1.3 seconds after a behavior happens to mark it, whether that's with a treat, a clicker, a word, whatever you're using. Miss that window, and your dog is not learning what you think they're learning. Here's what that looks like in real life. Your dog finally sits. You say, "Good boy." Walk to the kitchen, grab a treat, come back, give it to them. Your dog is now being rewarded for standing there waiting, or sniffing the floor, or scratching their ear. Dogs don't think in sentences. They don't connect dots across time the way we do. Their brain is wired to link cause and effect almost instantly. So the treat has to land in that moment, not after you had a thought, not after you finished your sentence. This is why clicker training works so well. The click is instant. The treat can follow a second later because the click already marked the behavior. But if you're just using your voice and your hand and your pocket, you're probably behind by 2 or 3 seconds on most rewards without realizing it. The fix is simple. Get your treat ready before you ask for the behavior. Don't root around in your pocket after they sit. Have it in your hand before you say, "Sit." That one change alone will make your dog look like a completely different animal within a week. This one stings a little. When a dog knows a command at home but completely ignores it at the park, most owners think their dog is being defiant. Trainers sometimes let that narrative slide because it keeps you coming back for more sessions. But the real answer is something called generalization, and dogs are terrible at it naturally. A dog that learned sit in your living room doesn't automatically know that sit means the same thing outside, with wind, with smells, with other dogs barking, with kids running past. To your dog, those are essentially different skills. The word sounds the same, but the context is so different that their brain treats it like a new problem. So when your dog blows you off at the dog park, they're not disrespecting you. They're maxed out. The environment is asking too much of them, and the command doesn't have enough history in that context to cut through. The solution is to train in progressively harder environments, not just harder commands. Start at home, then your backyard, then a quiet street, then a parking lot, then a park on a slow morning. Build the history of the command across enough situations, and suddenly your dog actually knows it everywhere. Trainers know this. Most don't walk you through it step by step because it takes time and it sounds boring. But this is the actual work. This one shocked a lot of owners I talked to. You're doing a 45-minute walk every morning. Your dog is still bouncing off the walls by noon. You think you need to walk more, maybe run, maybe a dog park. So you do all that, and there's still a chaos machine at 8 p.m. Here's the thing. Physical exercise and mental exercise are not the same thing. And for a lot of breeds, the mental side is actually more exhausting. A 15-minute sniff session, where you let your dog stop, smell everything, dictate the pace, is more draining for most dogs than a 40-minute structured walk where you're keeping them moving. The nose is connected to so much of a dog's brain. When they're processing scent, they're working hard. Same with training sessions. 10 minutes of focused practice, real focus, real thinking, working through problems, leaves most dogs genuinely tired in a way that jogging around the block just doesn't. This is why working breeds get miserable in homes that only give them physical outlets. A border collie doesn't need more miles. They need a job, a puzzle, a problem to solve. The body wears out before the brain does. So if your dog is getting walked and still going nuts, add sniff walks. Add 5 minutes of training before the walk so they start calmer. Add puzzle feeders at mealtime instead of just dropping food in a bowl. Watch what happens. Most owners can't believe the difference. Nobody wants to hear this from their trainer because it's awkward and it costs repeat business. But your dog's behavior is not happening in a vacuum. It's happening in relationship with you. The way you walk into a room when you're stressed, the way your voice changes when you're frustrated, the way you sometimes give in after the third bark just to get some peace. Your dog is reading all of that and learning from it constantly. Dogs are extraordinarily sensitive to human emotional states. There's decades of research on this. They can read micro-expressions. They respond to cortisol in your sweat. They notice your breathing pattern. When you are anxious, your dog often becomes anxious. When you're scattered, they're harder to settle. This sounds like a lot of pressure, but here's why it's actually good news. It means you have more influence than you think. You don't need a tool. You don't need a shock collar or a prong collar or a special harness. You need to understand that your dog is following your energy more than your commands sometimes. A slow exhale before you ask for a behavior. A calm pause before you walk out the door. Lower, slower voice when things escalate. These are not soft suggestions. They are functional inputs that your dog is responding to whether you're aware of it or not. When owners start working on their own consistency, their own calm, their own timing, dogs change fast. Not because the dog suddenly got smarter, because the communication got clearer. This is the one. Every single annoying thing your dog does, the barking, the chewing, the jumping, the pulling, the reactivity, is your dog trying to tell you something. They don't have words, they have behavior. And when we punish the behavior without addressing the need underneath it, the behavior finds another outlet, usually a worse one. Dog barks at the window. You yell. Dog gets quiet. You think it worked. 3 weeks later, the dog is destroying furniture. Same anxiety, different channel. The question that changes everything is not, how do I stop this behavior? It's, what is this behavior trying to solve for my dog? Anxiety, boredom, frustration, overstimulation, insecurity, pain. These are the actual causes behind most chronic behavior problems. And a trainer who doesn't help you identify the cause is handing you duct tape for a leak in the foundation. This doesn't mean there are no rules. It doesn't mean anything goes. Structure matters. Dogs actually feel safer with it. But structure built on top of unmet needs is just suppression. And suppression breaks eventually. The owners who get real, lasting results are the ones who get curious about their dogs, who start asking why instead of just how do I fix it, who understand that a reactive dog isn't a bad dog. A destructive dog isn't a vengeful dog. A dog that won't listen isn't a dominant dog trying to take over. It's a dog that needs something they're not getting and hasn't figured out a better way to ask. None of this requires expensive equipment. None of it requires a specific breed or a perfect setup or hours every day. It requires attention, consistency, a little patience with yourself and with your dog. The trainers worth their money already know all of this, but now you do too. So tell me in the comments, which one of these hit closest to home? Was it the timing thing, the walks, or did number 2 make you look at your own habits differently? Drop it below. I read all of them.